See, we tend to think of sacrifice as putting something to death. The other way to sacrifice is to sacrifice your health, to sacrifice your marriage, to sacrifice your conscience, to sacrifice your freedom, to sacrifice your well-being for someone or something else. And he says, whatever you offer your body to, that is your spiritual act of worship. And that would include sexuality. Now, that being said, today, sex is the biggest religion in the world. It is now a religion. In addition, there are now, just as there are denominations within Christianity, and I like to say that everything that God creates, Satan counterfeits. That as Christianity has denominations, and there's different types of Christians, so the religion of sex now has denominations. We call it LGBTQIA. Those are the denominations. Now, they may be different versions, but they're different versions of the same religion. The worship of created sex, body, and pleasure, not creator. And what's happening now is this religion has recently gotten into children's ministry. And now instead of Sunday school teachers, we've got drag queens at libraries. Okay, if you're not offended yet, the sermon's half over, there's still hope for you. But the point is this, the world that we live in has absolutely lost its mind because it's lost its soul. Now, let me give you an analogy or an illustration. Some of you are like, Mark, are you against pleasure and intimacy and sex? No, actually, I agree with God. And let me say this, when my son, we have three boys, when my youngest son was a little boy, we lived out of state at a cold, wet, dark environment. So during the winters, we'd chop a lot of wood, bring it in. We had this big family fireplace, and my little buddy and I loved to make fires. And I taught him, here's how you chop the wood, here's how you stack the wood, here's how you start the fire. And he's like, Dad, I love making fires. Me too. It's my love language, making fires. And so I remember I looked at him one time as a little boy, and I said, hey, little buddy, let me just tell you something. I said, we only build fires in the fireplace. I said, fire's great in the fireplace. Do not build a fire in your room. Do not build a fire in the living room. And do not build a fire in Dad's library with all of his books, please, okay? So, and he looked at me and I said, son, this is very important. Fire's great in the fireplace. Everywhere else, it's destructive. The passions of pleasure need to be contained in the fireplace of marriage, okay? We talk about passion as fiery and flaming. Well, that needs to be in the hearth or the fireplace of marriage. God is not against the fire, but he's for the fireplace. And once you take the fire out of the fireplace, you get something called America, where everything is burning to the ground.